Meeting started. Okay. Let's do roll call.
Tammy Bowman.
Greg Campbell, George Harris.
Sandy Butler.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve as written.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Okay. Take a hand, Rose.
All right, well, I'll turn it over to Steve. He just wanted to update you guys.
Oh, this is,
for
yeah, that's awesome.
The stable remodel. So I kind of just labeled these. Tell me which one you want me to click on, or I can just click through them one by one.
Let's start with the stage. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, the same.
Okay, so first of all, my wife wanted to be here too, but she's not feeling that great tonight,
Oh.
so I just told her to stay home.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
It's going around.
Um,
But
She's a teacher too, isn't she?
She retired.
She did.
Yes, this is her, she didn't go back this year.
Okay.
So first of all, we just want to say thank you to the HPC for working with us during this almost year-long remodel. Right before we opened, we were showing some people that had interest in seeing the building to come on in. And, I talk about how it was a remodel, but it really wasn't. It was more of just a total demo and start over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Craig one afternoon when I was showing he and Lisa around, and he was like, why don't you come and talk about what you all did
Yes.
and everything. And I was like, I never even thought about that. So thank you, Craig, for that suggestion. But anyway, the previous pictures when we were showing you all the rot and everything and all the foundation issues, I took some pictures. The stage where we have all of our music is we love it, and it's so much bigger. But the wood you see there is all original from the floor joist and the ceiling rafters.
Wow.
So we kept it, and we still have a lot of wood left that we've got another project, possibly making another table, maybe some more other items, but we still have, so that's original wood from when the building was built.
It just looks good, Steve.
Yeah. it was
Yeah,
really good.
and obviously it's been stained and planed, and but we wanted to keep as much of the wood as we possibly could. You can go to the next one. You can just start from the beginning.
Oh,
now,
okay.
That's fine.
Certainly.
And then I'm not the best photographer in the world, but all the shelving on both sides of the menu board, that's all original wood from the floor joists and the rafters.
Oh,
Go
I
back.
think that's
Yeah, go back to that.
oh, okay.
So there's more pictures of the stage. And then do you see the border around the TV?
Mhm.
Somebody suggested framing that TV kind of, though that's not holding the TV up at all. The TV was already there, but Derek Crandall, who's our woods, I don't know what you call somebody, like woodmaker, woodsman,
Yeah.
craftsman. He's very, very good at what he does with the wood, and he just thought it would be a great idea if we framed it. So that's original from the wood that we harvested from the building when we were doing the demo.
That's
They look
cool.
like shark teeth.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I like it.
And then there's more shelving, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shelving. And then behind the menu board, that's all original wood where that looks like the TV. Where the glasses are below there, that's not original. That was just, we put that in to make it look more.
So what happened to the old bar behind there? What did you guys do with it?
Well, funny you should ask, because I got a story about that.
Oh, cool.
So, okay.
Oh,
So,
sorry.
yeah, you can go there. So we put this frame together when we went all the way down to the
We
dirt.
find horseshoes.
Yes.
We did too in our backyard.
Yes,
Yeah.
and because I have been told by people that seem to be very knowledgeable about Pendleton history that the building was an alley before they built a building on there.
Right.
So we took a metal detector out, and I wish we could have got in there and really did a little bit more. But the horseshoes we found, we decided not to clean them up, and then the coins up there, we decided not to professionally get those cleaned either. I thought it just should maintain the character.
Wow.
But we did, up in the top right-hand corner, we did find a Barber dime that you can make out 1895.
Whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
So, yeah, so cool. And then we put in some old stuff, like the Marsh Pharmacy. I mean, this is stuff we just threw in there. Because if you look up at top there, we put in a ruler and it said, Greg Valentine for
Oh,
commissioner.
Yes, yeah.
I told my wife, I was like, he's not even dead yet. Joke.
Has he
But-
seen this?
Yeah, he's been in it. I think,
Yeah.
no, he has not seen it. I told him about it.
Oh, that's
So we
funny.
we decided to frame that, and you go to the next picture.
Oh, that's too funny. Next one.
Okay, so you ask about the bar. When we tore that bar out, well, I shouldn't say tear it out, we removed it because we sold it to
Mhm.
somebody. And we got it, somebody that, I should have had you come down and look at it. But somebody told us that, they thought it was around the 1920s, 1930s.
Yeah.
So, when we moved the bar out, this just slid out from behind the wall.
Oh, my God.
wow.
You found some treasures in there.
Yeah,
kidding.
so.
That is so cool.
So I just thought this was really cool and it's been a bar for so many years. I mean, now we can go back all the way to at least 1956.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can go to the next picture. And I kind of came out. Oh, I'll show you there in a minute. So here's some more of the wood, just from the original flooring and everything. You can go to the next.
Gorgeous.
I think that's all I've got.
Oh. Well, anyway, the sign, I wanted to kind of show you where we hung it compared to where we have our beer signs and everything like that. But I just wanted to come in and show you that even though it was a total remodel, except for the brick wall, which we sealed,
Mhm.
we tried to keep as much of some of the original things as we possibly could.
Yeah.
All the wood that was salvageable, we kept.
Wow.
So, and we're going to be using it for more things in the future. We just haven't got a plan for it yet.
Yeah.
But at least we have it.
Oh, the facade looks great. The inside looks great.
And right there back here, you can't really tell, but where all these liquor bottles are right here,
Uh-huh.
that's a wood shelving that was also from the original wood.
Wow.
Wow.
So we're really, really happy with how it turned out. Probably more than what we expected, but we just, wanted to show, and then see the color in between the boards.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Though we got those from Asheville, North Carolina at an
Really?
antique shop. Our daughter was on a travel nursing assignment. And we went down to visit her and we just went to an antique place and Missy fell in love. Those are panels from inside a boat.
Oh.
And she thought that that really would go well with,
That's very
Yeah.
good.
with just throwing some color into the bar. So,
Yeah.
I don't know how old that is, but that's pretty old stuff too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we kept going by there. My wife and I would walk our dog and we, she wasn't tall enough to see over the cardboard, but I was kind of, so I had to do a report for her. What do you see in there? Well, just give her, but yeah, it looks fantastic. I love it.
yeah, we're pretty proud of it and, hopefully we'll see y'all in there sometime.
Well, I can't wait till summer and you open the windows up because they didn't see them open one day.
Yeah, we were blessed. We had them open probably 4 or 5 times during
Oh,
the first
really?
2 weeks,
That's
and they
cool.
really have turned out great. It just gives us an outdoor, indoor type thing, since
Yeah.
we don't have a whole lot of seating right there in front outdoors. But I just wanted to come by and thank you all for your patience and cooperation, and just to kind of
No, you guys did it right.
fill you in
Yeah.
on some things.
Thank
You
you.
did do it right. It really adds to the downtown.
Yeah, and that's what we want. We want more people to be drawn into the downtown area.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
Well, thank you for working with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
no problem.
appreciate that. Yeah.
all right.
Getting it open again.
Yes.
We're thirsty people. Right?
Yes.
All right, thank you all.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
Thank you very much.
Well, have a good evening.
You
Yeah,
too.
you too.
Good job.
Be safe.
Next thing I've got is the design guidelines. So if you want to open this on your iPad, you can. I just wanted to kind of let you know how the inventory is going. So we have the 5 designations from DNR, or is it DNR? Division of Historic Preservation of Archaeology. And we had gone through and updated this map for accurately representing what was, really it was just reference contributing and non-contributing. The notable and outstanding buildings have stayed the same for quite some time.
Mhm.
But I know we were trying to move away from the non-contributing or non-historic, because there were a lot of buildings that were marked as that were more so in the reference category. So that map has been updated to reference that and only shows non-contributing buildings as ones that are too young, which is a lot less than all these buildings being non-contributing. So
Mhm.
I think that was a really good way to improve this and also add to the inventory how we can give some rehab guidelines for the reference structures. So maybe eventually they could become contributing structures,
Mhm.
either again or for the first time. So I also recategorized it to have the outstanding first and then the notable. I did add the school that was demolished just so we could pay homage to that structure in here, and that it was an outstanding structure. So if you look, all these green ones, save for a few that were already in the inventory, like Dr. Lau's building, 121 West State, those were already in here as reference. I added every building that we have in our district.
Okay.
And categorized it as such. So what I'm working on next is getting actual pages together for these, like I do for all the other ones. It has the picture, maybe an older picture if there's one available, and then some design guidelines. Because we were missing things like the K&A building and a few buildings next to Jerry's where they're just covered in stucco and the windows are wrong, where
Right.
that was removed, it could very easily go back to some sort of contributing structure.
Yes.
So I think having those kind of guidelines available for anybody to try to do that. Now, some of these are not really going to have the ability to go back to a historic looking structure like the lumber yard or Citizens Bank
Right.
over here. They're just within our downtown business, and so
Yes.
making sure they kind of stay compatible materials wise as they get updated or remodeled, things like that. But we certainly have some on here that, could use some major rehabs to bring them back to a historic state.
Mhm.
So with that, that's kind of really all that I have on that. The only thing I did want to ask, and I think I've kind of alluded to this before, is who makes the designation or who makes the call when, say, we have a structure, like Dr. Lau's building and the windows are replaced correctly and the stucco is removed, and now we would consider that contributing because it's going back to what it was supposed to look like after its various remodels.
If it met all the
Who-
guidelines, we would be the one, 'cause it's our district.
Okay. Because that was kind of the next thing I wanted to discuss was, if there were any buildings on this list, the only one I can really think of would be the Pendleton Art Society building. Because that was remodeled to go back to its Art Deco look and it's very accurate now, but it's still listed as a reference structure.
That should go back. If we're gonna do, that would go back to contributing.
Mhm.
That's
It's
what
been
I would
res-
figure.
Been
Right.
restored back to.
Yeah,
the
restored. Yeah,
Right.
that's what I meant to say.
You would agree with that too, right?
Oh, I would too, because I mean, it is over 50 years old, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And as far as I can tell, it, no, you said that already. It's been restored to its Art Deco.
You know
version. 'Cause
that-
Wasn't it brick or something at one point?
It was, well, they first had the brick facade with the three arch, there was an arch doorway and two arch windows.
Yeah,
And then it became the Roxy Theater, which is in there.
that's that.
Roxy, that was that building, yeah. The Roxy
Right.
Theater, yeah.
I
So,
know that.
and then,
Because I always wondered where that was and I
That's
could
where-
never
yeah.
tell.
oh, you did,
where
okay,
it
yeah,
was.
that was the Roxy Theater. And the Roxy used to be in the Oddfellows building, right? Yeah, it was in the Oddfellows building and moved
Yeah.
over there. But,
Okay.
it did have an original brick facade, but then the bottom
Yes.
part, I
Right,
don't think any of the original brick under those limestone panels
Mhm.
are even there, so.
right. Because I thought that I had
It could
heard
be.
that at one point that, there was discussion of when we got that facade money to take it back to its brick look or to take it to its Art Deco kind of, because
Right.
one's a little older than the other. So that's kind of really the only building so far I think deserves to go to a contributing
Yeah,
status.
I'd say so.
The other two that I'm just looking at on the horizon are the stable and then the Hayden building. So I know the
Second one over
stable
here.
next to the stable. So I know that one is the facade on the side is changing a lot. And then with the stable, I know that the Specs Restaurant, the oldest picture we have of it has a much smaller plank board.
Mhm.
I don't know if that is like the level of detail we get down to, or if it's like it is a wood plaque facade with 2 big bay windows and kick plates. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's okay.
mhm.
I mean, if you start getting into the weeds and all of that.
Right, it's like those planks are 12 inches and these planks in the 1920 picture are like 8.
It just.
So
would
like, I
Be the
don't,
higher levels it would impact, like it would never be outstanding.
right.
It would just be contributing.
So if that's what we think should be moved from reference to contributing as well, that was the other one I was considering. And the Hayden building, I was a little, because the side facade, the front facade, I think looks very similar to like kind of the only pictures we really have of it. With the big bay windows and the door, but the side is getting all those windows because it was just in such poor shape.
But
It
usually
wasn't-
it's just the front facade anyway.
It's not visible from the street, doesn't count.
It's the front facade.
It's the front facade. Well, then that might be one we want to consider as well.
Tammy, what do you think on that?
I'm not sure on that one.
I-
I haven't really looked at it
Yeah.
closely. It's sort of still developing. And I just
True,
haven't
it's not done.
Seen.
Yeah.
Where it's going.
Well, most
But-
things, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but in general, I wonder, my opinion would err on the side of contributing for some of the ones that are in the packet already for reference because of the definition that's provided that speaks to, what's it say?
Pre-1940.
Massing, density, where is it?
Is the contributing, okay, contribute to density,
Yeah.
continuity, uniqueness, but which in their present condition do not appear to meet the general criteria for national or state registers. These properties may be considered for city or county historic register programs.
Yeah, so as I'm looking down at some of the reference ones, I feel that because of their density, continuity, and the uniqueness of the historic district, I would classify those as contributing, like, I'm slow to load here, but like town hall would be one of those.
That, yeah, that
You
was
know,
what I was
without
looking at.
the building with its overall massing,
Mhm. I
that
agree.
would be a vastly different
Yeah.
situation.
I almost feel we could do that for any of the buildings
do
within this
too.
block from Maine to North Pendleton
Yeah,
that are, yeah, because like, if Mr.
Others on the
Busey's
list.
building wasn't there, it would look really silly.
yeah, it would have that whole skip tube thing.
Yes,
That
exactly.
would,
So,
so I don't know, I'm kind of wondering if a lot of them shouldn't be leveled up.
yeah,
on that
I would agree
basis.
too, and all these buildings are pre-1940,
Mhm.
or they're considered historic, they're considered historic. So how about for, January or, February, whenever we get in our next meeting, I'll make a list of those buildings that we should consider for contributing status.
And then are you building out the rest of the list, 2 pages on each of these that aren't
Yes,
shown? Okay.
Yes.
yeah.
So I think I only have like one
Yeah.
from this list. It's a lot of copy and
It's a
paste
big
work.
list, yeah.
That's adding, 40 more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you build this in?
InDesign.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good job, yes,
Thank you.
I'm working that all the time.
Yeah, InDesign is my favorite program to work in, and so much so I don't know how to use anything else anymore.
I used to use Quark
Never even heard of that.
out of my life.
Okay, so
That's
what
good.
I will do for our next meeting is make a list of potential contributing buildings. From reference. And then you see we've got about a dozen non-contributing. Some of them are getting close, and we might want to look at that for next year, that some of these are getting close to being the 50-year-old, or they could move into reference. Just, or if they get old enough and we want to, and think that they're important enough to be contributed. Okay, so any further discussion then on that? That's just kind of where I'm at with it.
This is beautiful.
great.
It's good.
Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thank
Nice
you.
job.
This is amazing.
Yeah, I'm really excited on it. I'm glad we got to update it this year together. It was a long process, but definitely well worth it.
Very thorough.
Is this already posted on the website, even though it's incomplete?
No, the old version is.
Okay.
Or just the most recent one that we amended. If you want a copy of this, you can either download it from G Drive or I can send it to you.
So
Just
you're
let me
working,
know.
are
Just
you
shoot me
working
an
on Mac or
email if
PC?
Hmm?
Are you working on Mac or PC?
PC.
Well, I didn't know, I mean, because I've only done InDesign on a Mac, so I didn't know how.
Oh, no, I can't use Macs.
I can't either.
Oh, gosh, they're so confusing, but yet I have to have them in too. So next thing, I know George and I have been discussing an open house for HPC, kind of what this board does, what it means for downtown business, commercial owners, things of that nature. So we're looking at having some sort of open house in conjunction with Pendleton Settlement, if possible, on February 13th, which is the February date of this board. Instead of having this, I don't think we have anything upcoming as far as meeting the COA, except the Hayden Building might be getting some signage. On the, John Walker. So doing that at PAS, George has put together a list of realtors, developers, contractors. If you have any people you think should be involved in this, please send them to me or George. And basically what this would be is I've put a few topics here. I'll put together an agenda of some sort once we kind of solidify topics, but it's how historic homes and districts add value, maintaining historic fabric and materials, why that's important for a homeowner, the potential residential guidelines that we might start looking at with just on Broadway, an educational / welcome packet for new buyers or sellers, and then what historic designations mean and the best way to rehab a historic home to preserve it. So I think we're all well aware that historic districts with their existing residential urban fabric tend to have a little bit higher, market value because, that's just how
It always goes that
it's
way.
always been that way.
Yeah.
Especially so, if those are maintained. So educating people on, if you purchase a home here, here's the best way to retain its value instead of framing it that this is how, we want you to keep it historic, like making it to where it's like this really does affect the value of your home if you replace it with inappropriate products.
I think
Because
if
I know
I,
we had a recent kind of incident
Yes.
like that on Main Street where some
Yes.
windows were replaced with not the best replacement
Mhm.
material and size. Didn't affect the opening of the home of the window, so they could be replaced at some point, but I would imagine it takes down the historic and monetary value.
it does.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't think that home's been sold yet.
It hasn't.
Mhm.
And we're just,
So
I'm just gonna hope it doesn't sell. That mean? It's like, no, I know.
Well, and the asking price was, when you say it was,
40,000?
yeah, there's none.
I mean, it's big home, but and so educating, I think, is a good way to do that. And
Hannah, how is that handled when they come in to get a permit to do those things? Is that, do you have
just
a,
get a permit.
and so we don't go over with them that that's a historic. I wish there was something that we could do, maybe even a piece of paper that says.
Well,
they're on
that's why I think if we're gonna kind of put together an educational welcome packet, we can start giving that to people who pull the permits. We have no power right now to
Right.
enforce it, but we could say,
And
we
this-
can
this
definitely do that.
Document needs to be part of that as well,
Mhm.
definitely.
Certainly,
Yeah.
yeah. And so that's how we can, I think, start doing that until we maybe get some residential design guidelines. I've been looking at some, to not copy and paste, but copy and paste, because they're pretty well done. I've looked at Albany, Oregon, Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, things like that. I'm just kind of picking bits and pieces. But I know Indiana Landmarks does assistance with
They-
that as
Brittany
well,
reached,
so.
Brittany reached out to me this week on this whole thing.
Oh,
And I'll be
okay.
seeing her tomorrow evening at the Indiana Landmark Celebration in Union City. So I'm having a short little meeting with her
Okay.
just to
Yeah.
discuss, so I'll bring that up with her again.
Yeah, and then just let me know after that how we can move forward with
Okay.
doing something like that. Cause I do think starting somewhere like Broadway where there is kind of a lot of care and attention for those historic details already is a good
Mhm.
catalyst project to show how valuable these residential design guidelines can be. And also the value of having the HPC oversee a bit of a larger area than they do.
And that
So-
Broadway, it is under the HBC right now.
The road,
The
yeah.
road is.
The road
yeah.
itself. So
Okay.
the other thing I was curious about was with the National Register, you know, I know it's our original town boundaries. But how often or who comes in and says, oh, that contributing building was knocked down, that one, you lose your designation.
You can lose your designation.
Right, that's what
But
I'm
no
worried
one
about.
comes in and does it. Unless we
Okay.
don't draw attention to it,
Uh-huh,
we just slide along.
okay.
But we can-
Well, we want that, but we also want to make sure we retain it anyway.
Well,
Not
it
just
needs
slide
to-
under the
yeah, it-
radar.
It needs to be retained.
Yeah.
It would be helpful to have an inventory like this on all of the structures in
Yeah.
the historic preservation district
Yes,
that
Now
are
that-
contributing.
yeah, that we do
non-contributing.
have. So we have the 1984 interim report that we can
Right.
start with.
But it's not this.
No,
This
it just
district.
says the
Yeah.
address and then the building architecture type, so like Queen Anne or bungalow
Right.
or something like that.
We have that, Tammy.
We have the list, but we don't have a page by page description and photo of each house with.
No, we do
recommendations
not
and
have
all of
that.
No,
That would be
that's-
helpful to
that
have
would
for that
be-
district.
That would be where we would get, you know, either a consultant to do that or, you know, Indiana Landmarks grant or residential design guidelines to do something like that. But it might be good to just start with that list since it is every structure in the national district and see which ones are still around from the 80s.
Where if we could get a grant to do that?
That's what I'm thinking is that Indiana Landmarks has grants or availability for residential design guidelines to do just that. They take a survey and they build something like this. So
I'll talk
if you
to-
maybe want to ask her what grants and Carrie, our grant admin, has been working really hard to get PBA and Main Street kind of on their feet. But next year his focus is he's gotten us a lot of grants. But it's gonna be more grant focused, so we'll have to look into something like that for historic preservation. Okay, so as far as the open house goes, if there are any additional topics, I'll kind of put together an agenda to send to everybody, and then you can send me your comments, like we need to talk about this or that. or
Do you want
we
to put
should
together like a
rewrite.
PowerPoint that we can kind of give an overview?
Yeah.
Do you want to write that out and then I can put it together?
Sure.
Do you guys already have a template for PowerPoint stuff?
Mhm.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
awesome.
What day did you say?
It's
13th.
February
of February.
13th.
Oh, that's coming up, isn't it?
So I'll talk to Karen Zane and I don't think there's going to be anything going on at that point.
Mhm.
So I'll nail that down tomorrow.
Okay.
And then I'll get back to you on that, but it should be open for that.
Right, and we, so George, you put together a list of contractors and real estate agents, things like that, you know. This would obviously be open to the public as well, if they
Yeah.
just wanted to come and learn.
Do you want to put an ad in, say, the Pendleton Times?
We can do that,
Yeah.
yeah, since this is sort of a it's not really an HPC meeting, but it's a educational seminar by the HPC,
Right.
so we can put it in the paper and put it on our Facebook and stuff. So if you think of other topics or people you want to have us include, please let me know. Like I said, I'll kind of put together an agenda to send it out to you, and you can send me any sort of edits. Okay, so I've got those things, and then
One question,
Yeah,
what do you
sure.
want Historic Fall Creek to do? What are we supposed to be doing?
well, I think it would be good to have you there, and maybe talk about what you do, and then
Okay.
also, you know, any efforts that you guys have made within the national district or
Okay.
in any of the
Mhm.
residential areas, things like
So you may
that.
have to get up and speak.
I'm okay with that.
Cool.
Probably just maybe a 10-minute segment.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
want us to help with refreshments?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's always good to have, snacks and wine.
And we could have wine down there.
Yes, we can have wine, beer. Yes, that's all.
Certainly.
Okay.
Okay, so we already talked about the residential design guidelines discussion. I just have two more little things. I was, the planning commission recently went through their exterior wall materials list of allowed and disallowed, and where those certain materials are and are not allowed. And there was some concerns about vinyl and where we allow that. And they kind of came to the conclusion that we would just use a certain rigidity standard instead of, either outright banning it or having, you can only use this certain percentage of vinyl on a new residential home. However, what I did suggest to them, and right now this is a little out of your purview, but just wanted your feedback. They disallowed vinyl in RC zoning. So if you want to build a new house in our urban fabric, vinyl is no longer allowed. And that came on the recommendation of what's in our design guidelines. Granted, that's more geared towards commercial, but the typically unsuitable materials section for new construction did not suggest vinyl. So that was kind of the only thing I could bring to them, was that this is what I found in historic guidelines. Do you want to have that as a disallowed product? So that's
Good.
something going forward, I think, in our residential design guidelines, that we want to make sure those two documents do talk to each other, just like how the historic preservation guidelines talk to that very small but still existing section in our UDO, because it's mostly goes by your guidelines, not.
Does anyone know when vinyl appeared on the market for residential construction?
No idea.
Oh,
Rabbit
fifties,
Town?
okay.
No, I mean,
They could be the
aluminum.
50s.
Aluminum was popular for a long, long time. Like
Was it Levittown? Like that was all that vinyl, right?
I don't know that it was vinyl.
We all have smartphones here, people.
Yeah, someone
Very-
must ask the internet.
Siding used to be the thing, and
Yeah.
then aluminum got so expensive, and they went. to
They
vinyl.
went to the
When did
vinyl.
siding
Yeah.
become
It might have been the
popular?
70s.
Yeah.
I'm asking because.
When
of that.
everything was plastic.
Sixties, the late
60s.
sixties, vinyl became widely available, and today, fully
Yeah.
1/3 of all homes in the United States are sided with some sort of vinyl.
1/3.
I'm asking because we're
That
talking
scares
about
me.
buildings that are too young
Mhm.
to be included, but
Yes.
once a building from the sixties has it,
Mhm.
Right.
then it would be included as
So-
allowable for
There
a
is.
sixties, seventies construction.
There is in there, that if you are doing like due maintenance on your structure, so like if I have vinyl siding and I need to replace siding on my house, that's fine. It's just more geared towards new construction, new builds. We have a very limited area where we can have that infill and or subdivisions of RC zoning. You're only allowed to have it kind of right around where our RC zoning exists already. So those would not be allowed to have it. I'm gonna look at some language to reinforce that, because I want to make sure people can, but that's typically how it is. If you are replacing up to, I want to say 49%, over 49%, you have to conform to the new standards. If you don't, you can use whatever product.
Well, I'm curious as to what vinyl siding in the sixties looked like compared to what it looks like now. Because it usually comes in like the double siding sheets. I
Yeah.
wonder if it was single or something different, because if you went to replace something like that
You could.
on an existing structure, you wouldn't be able to do it.
Or how thick it was back in.
Exactly, yeah.
when it
Much
first
thicker than
started, it was,
today,
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Because there's, in our UDO for any vinyl, there was a ATSM rigidity standard it had to meet, so that it
Mhm.
wouldn't just like blow off in a hard wind. So I imagine when vinyl first started, it was probably just solid. Where this was just, known. So I wanted to update you guys on that. We've never had any issues with that. It was just they were kind of looking for a suggestion, so that was all I could find. And lastly, Carrie did apply for our triannual, I guess, every 3 years food and beverage. We
Mhm.
applied for another $250,000
That'd be nice.
as was suggested by the county. They really liked the project that we had, and how it not only did aesthetic things, but also, their big thing is economic development, and we had a lot of that investment dollars, and jobs and things. So hopefully we get that. We should hear by the end of January, I think, whether, or, I don't know if they do a 2-round elimination or it's just by the end of January, you know, if you got it or not. Carrie, but that's really exciting.
It is
So I can't
exciting.
wait to get the word out if and when we get that money.
That'd be great.
Yeah, because we've got some buildings that I would love to work with.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
I'd like it if we could get town hall back to its original look, but I'm like, nope, don't use it on us, leave it on other people.
Sure would be nice though.
It would, because this is fantastic.
Yeah.
I've found so many old pictures of these two buildings and this just looks great. It
Mhm.
looks like it's original facade, so I love that. So that's all I have. If you, Sandy, if you want to follow up with me, I had on here where to start for residential design guidelines. So, do you want me to send you the ones I've been looking at?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, send those to me and I'll look at them and actually meet with Brittany. I could make a trip to her office and
Okay.
sit down with her and.
Yeah,
just
I think,
discuss it with her. You can go with me.
yeah,
Brittany's
sure.
real easy to
Right.
talk with.
So that's all I've got. I think Jeff is our only person online, so is there anything you guys have for me or want me to move forward with in the new year? This is kind of our state of the union.
Yeah. No, I'll get with you tomorrow and just kind of, hammering through some things.
Sure.
If you could just send me your PowerPoint templates. And then, that invitation I give you is a shell, because I think I did it in InDesign, or it's PDF. So I can throw that back to you if you wanted to go ahead and put all the information in there once I, get solid with PAS.
Okay. I think our PowerPoints are in InDesign.
Hmm.
So I might just have to package it and share it with you.
No, just go ahead and send me you could go ahead and do we were like, it's like the pre-flight function.
No,
if you
I
wanna
always just
gather it.
package and send.
Oh, package, yeah, just package it, send the whole thing to me if you want.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll fit over it.
Oh, okay,
So I might share it with you.
okay, cool. Or you could just output it as a PDF. I can use it that way too.
Hey, Jeff, oh gosh, I had a Jeff question and now I already forgot. Rats. Oh, that's what it was. If, for the flyer for this HPC educational outreach thing, can we use the town's logo?
Yeah, the town, we're a department of the town, so the town itself could use its own, logo, absolutely.
Okay, I didn't know, because it's not gonna be like an official HPC meeting or anything, it's just education for the public during.
Yeah, but it's a document that's authorized and distributed at the request of the town agency. So I think we're,
Yes, it is. Mhm.
all right, we're good.
Cool. All right, folks.
One more thing.
Okay, yeah. let's go.
We want to thank Craig for being on the board.
Oh, yes, we do. Thank you, Craig,
How many years have you been
for
on the
all of
board?
your
Craig?
years of hard work and
No,
You've been on there a long time.
it's been that long, you don't remember, yeah?
8 or not 8, I don't know.
Oh, man, well, thank you so much for the time I've been here. I appreciate all your input.
My pleasure.
You
Yeah,
added a lot to the
absolutely.
board. It was good. Sorry to see him leave.
Yeah, me too.
We're gonna miss you, seriously.
We are. We are.
Get some down there, far more attuned to it than I.
Oh, no, and you've been very
Did a
good.
good
And
job.
Dan really does want to be on, he was on the HPC, Dan Troutline told me he wanted to come back.
Oh, cool.
Did he come to the boards and commissions meeting?
I don't know, he did not, so,
I didn't
Okay.
see him.
but I sent
I
you
had-
his phone number.
Yeah.
and
I gave his info
Address.
to Steph. I thought maybe he had applied for something, but I'll have her.
He
reach
may
out to
have,
him.
but he wasn't at that meeting. I left a little bit before it ended, but
Okay.
he wasn't here.
I'll make sure
But
she's reached out.
he really wants to be on the board again.
So you can still come to the meetings and just like stare at us and
I
stuff.
do.
Yeah,
Nah,
Throw tomatoes.
yeah, absolutely. So
oh, for
paper wise,
tomatoes.
yeah.
Come on. Yeah.
No tomatoes, no tomatoes.
All right, let's adjourn our last
right.
meeting of 2023, folks.
Yes, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
That was your last second.
Oh, yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? We're good. Let's get out of here.
All right,
Well,
thanks,
thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Hey.